If you are an international medical graduate looking to practice medicine in the United States, you may feel overwhelmed with where to start. And if you're just beginning your research, the pathway to residency can be a complicated maze to follow. Luckily, we have helped thousands of IMGs get into residency and are here to help. Let's get started. First off, all IMGs need to be ECFMG certified to work as a doctor in the United States. But before you can become ECFMG certified, you need to take the USMLE exams. The USMLE consists of 4 exams testing your overall knowledge and skills as a physician. Step 1 tests your knowledge of basic principles. The Step 2 CK tests your clinical knowledge. The next exam is the Step 2 CS, where you will examine standardized patients and test on your clinical skills. The Step 3 exam is a 2-day computerized examination with approximately 500 multiple choice questions, as well as computer-based case simulations. Remember, success of the USMLE exams require a strong basic and clinical science foundation and the ability to integrate information across topics. For most students, the USMLE exams are the biggest hurdles along the way, and study times for these exams can vary depending on experience and year of medical school graduation. In general, students should begin the process of studying for their exams approximately 1 to 1.5 years before the match. And preparing for these exams is very important. The higher you score, the better your chances are going to be during the match. Once you have completed your USMLE exams, you will be ready to apply for residency programs. To apply using ERAS, you will need to request an ERAS token through OASIS, the Online Applicant Status and Information System. The 14-digit token will grant you access to your application. Once you access your application, you can start uploading your required documents. After you have uploaded your documents, you will submit your application to residency programs starting September 6th. On September 15th, residency programs will begin to review and choose which applicants they want to interview. Interviews start to get scheduled as early as October and are typically held from November to January. After the interviews, students and hospitals will submit their rank order lists from January 6th to February 22nd with the NRMP, the National Residency Matching Program. Helpful hint, don't forget to register with the NRMP for your candidate number by November 30th. Once you've submitted your rank order list, it's time to wait for Match Day, which occurs on the 3rd Friday of March. Match Day is the most exciting time for international medical graduates, as you find out if you've matched into a residency position. If you matched, you'll be starting residency in July. We know it's a long road to obtaining a residency position in the US, but Kaplan Medical is here every step of the way. And remember, the United States needs doctors like you. So start your prep today.
Здравствуйте, дорогие друзья, добрый вечер, добрый день. Сегодня мы с вами смотрим друг на друга, так скажем, из разных частей нашей страны, также стран СНГ. Я рада вас приветствовать сегодня на нашей видеовстрече. Прежде чем я начну, я хотела бы представиться. Меня зовут Наталья, я являюсь координатором международных программ компании Excellente. И прежде чем продолжу непосредственно рассказывать вам о программе иммиграции врачей за рубежом, хотелось бы установить с вами контакт, да, узнать, слышите ли вы меня сейчас. Пожалуйста, если вы меня слышите, поставьте плюсик в правое меню в чате. Это очень важно, чтобы я поняла, что вы меня слышите, чтобы я видела, что вы сегодня здесь с нами. И как только я получу от вас ответ, мы с вами продолжим. Отлично, уже вижу интеракцию. Отлично, друзья. Итак, возможно, в дальнейшем к нам кто-то еще, так скажем, присоединится, да? Итак, с чего хотелось бы начать? Хотелось бы начать с того, что у нашего вебинара есть правила, то есть в процессе презентации у вас будет право задавать вопросы в нашем общем чате, то есть вы можете их прописывать туда как на русском языке, так и на английском, да, поскольку наш спикер будет сегодня англоговорящим. Либо, если вы хотите, чтобы я перевела вам какой-то момент, да, либо перевела ваш вопрос спикеру непосредственно, то я это сделаю. Просто можете в течение всей презентации оставлять ваши вопросы в чате, и по окончании презентации я вам подробно объясню и расскажу обо всех моментах. Итак, Что касается чата, я вам объяснила. Также в правой стороне нашего чата внизу вы можете увидеть значок руки. То есть, если вы хотите задать вопрос нашему спикеру лично, да, если вы хотите, чтобы он вас видел, слышал, вы можете просто поднять руку, и он уже непосредственно будет слышать ваш голос. То есть, если вы хотите непосредственно, чтобы мы вас все услышали, да, познакомились с вами, то, пожалуйста, поднимайте руку. Но, опять же, уточню такой момент, да, что лучше делать это по окончании презентации, чтобы вы получили полную информацию и тем самым не останавливали спикера. Что касается сегодняшней презентации, она будет проходить на английском. Как я уже говорила, мы будем помогать переводить какие-то моменты, да, поскольку все-таки медицинская терминология является достаточно сложной. Наш спикер будет разговаривать с нами из Америки, его зовут Марк Кэтлиф, и он официальный представитель Kaplan Medical. Сейчас, чтобы не тратить наш трафик, я отключу. Немного расскажу вам о нашей компании, то есть кто же такие все-таки экселленты. Итак, наша компания работает с 2010 года, то есть уже 8 лет мы на рынке вместе с вами, и уже 8 лет подряд мы занимаемся организацией куррикулярных туров для детей, языковых курсов и непосредственно занимаемся программой Kaplan Medical и являемся их официальными представителями, о чем я расскажу вам также далее. Мы оказываем полный спектр услуг по образованию и трудоустройству за рубежом. То есть, если вы, допустим, хотите получить медицинскую аккредитацию, то, конечно же, сегодняшняя программа будет как нельзя, кстати, актуальной для вас. Однако, если вы хотите получить образование в медицинской сфере и не уверены, то есть, насколько это реально, вы всегда можете обратиться к сотрудникам нашей компании, и мы подскажем вам, в какой стране сделать это реально и как, в принципе, можно поступить и трудоустроиться за рубежом. У нас есть множество лицензий международных аккредитаций, мы предлагаем множество различных программ, в том числе трудоустройство медработников США, то есть у нас есть различные программы в плане стажировок, на которых вы будете получать международный опыт и рекомендательные письма, и также трудоустройство медработников в Чехии. Сегодня мы об этих программах говорить не будем, но такие программы у нас есть, то есть если вы заинтересованы в таком опыте, так сказать, то всегда двери нашей компании для вас открыты. Можете писать нам на WhatsApp, звонить, можете писать нам письма в электронную почту, мы всегда будем рады вам ответить. Мы являемся официальным представителем Kaplan Medical, то есть мы уже отправляли студентов в Kaplan Medical. На настоящий момент у нас уехала студентка, она сначала поехала на курсы английского языка непосредственно, чтобы подтянуть свои знания, навыки в области английского, и потом уже перейти на сам курс изучения подготовки к тесту Usmle, то есть перехода в само образовательное учреждение Kaplan Medical. То есть, если вдруг вы планируете получить английский, либо боитесь, что вам не хватит вашего английского для того, чтобы получить международную аккредитацию, подготовиться к тесту, да, то мы можем также вам в этом поспособствовать. Вы можете поехать сначала учить английский и плавно перейти на программу подготовки к Usmle. Когда спрашивают, то есть вообще рентабельны ли, так сказать, врачи российские и вообще врачи из других стран США, да, безусловно, и Марк сегодня об этом упомянет, что наши врачи действительно ценятся за рубежом, и то, что наши рабочие силы не востребованы за рубежом, это просто миф. Если же вы готовитесь к Usmle и успешно сдаете этот сложный экзамен, вы сможете трудоустроиться не только в США, то есть вы сможете трудоустроиться также и в Израиле, вы сможете трудоустроиться в Новой Зеландии, в Арабских Эмиратах. То есть любая из этих стран на ваш выбор, они принимают сертификаты Usmle, то есть двери этих стран будут уже для вас открыты. Стоит ли вообще получать международную лицензию врача в США, в частности? Да, конечно же, стоит. Сейчас в США просматривается жесткая нехватка специалистов именно в медицинской области, то есть в любом случае, если вы получите эту аккредитацию, эту лицензию, то вы будете востребованы. И даже если вы захотите оставаться в США или ехать куда-то за рубеж, вы значительно повысите свою конкурентоспособность на рынке в России, и тем самым уже будете достаточно ценным специалистом в нашей стране, да. Как это работает? Сдача экзамена Usmle — это достаточно сложный многоступенчатый процесс, но для того, чтобы в нем разобраться, мы сегодня с вами здесь. То есть Марк поможет вам осветить все моменты, все этапы сдачи этого экзамена. Вкратце расскажу вам о 3 этапах, да, по которым вас будут подготавливать Kaplan Medical. То есть это Step 1, на котором вам расскажет о каких-то базовых медицинских знаниях, расскажет, как сдавать этот тест, он достаточно долгий, то есть вам объяснят от до, как с ним справиться. Step 2 CK, то есть Step 2 Clinical Knowledge, это клинические знания, то есть это ваша подготовленность в той или иной сфере деятельности медицинской. И Step 2 CS – это Clinical Skills, то есть здесь уже будут проверяться ваши медицинские навыки, как вы можете применять их на практике. То есть это тоже входит в часть теста, поскольку ваша профессия достаточно важна во всем мире, да, то есть без вас мы просто не справимся, поэтому клинические навыки, Clinical Skills – это неотъемлемая часть данного экзамена. Также хочу отметить, что для участников нашего вебинара мы дарим скидку на подготовку к курсу подготовки Usmle. Мы дарим скидку в размере $200, и она будет действовать в течение 2 недель после окончания вебинара. И если вы зарегистрируетесь на подготовку к Usmle в течение 2 недель, то вы сократите вашу стоимость обучения, стоимость вашей подготовки на $200. Итак, на этом я хотела бы завершить свою часть представления. Хотела бы передать слово Марку. Еще раз напоминаю, что если у вас возникают вопросы в процессе презентации, можете оставлять их в чате. Также мы будем обсуждать с вами различного рода вопросы в конце презентации, уже непосредственно будем задавать их Марку. So, Mark, I hope that you're here with us. Now you can start. We are waiting for you.
Hello, everybody. I hope you guys can see me okay. And thank you for having me here today. I don't know if you can, are they able to use the chat? Are students able to use the chat? I'd like to see if everybody can hear me okay. It's one, it's terrible when you start talking and then you find out later that nobody heard you. Okay, I guess everybody's hearing me okay. Well, thank you for having me here today. I'm Mark Ratliff with Kaplan Medical. I'm International Recruitment Manager here at Kaplan Medical. But for 7 years before that, I was a Kaplan Medical Advisor working here in one of our Columbus centers. Whoops. Okay, we're good. And so I've had experience working with hundreds and thousands of doctors. Directly, indirectly, and working through the application process. So I wanted to introduce what we can do for you here. I've got a presentation, but please feel free to ask questions. This is a complicated process, but not an impossible process by any stretch of the imagination. Thousands of international doctors match to U.S. residencies every year. I have to turn off my WhatsApp. I keep getting messages. Thousands of doctors match to U.S. residencies every year, and we can show you the formula for achieving this and explain to you maybe why you might want to do it in the first place. So let's move on. Okay, so today's agenda, we're going to be taking care of why U.S. residency. So what's the point? Why am I here? Why shouldn't I go somewhere else? There's plenty of places to go to practice medicine, to learn medicine, but in the United States, there's good money. Now is a great opportunity. There's lots of different opportunities and timing. This is a great time to be applying to be an IMG resident at a university, at a hospital in the United States. What do you need to do to match? Okay, that's probably the most important question I get. We'll talk about scores, how important USMLE scores are to this process. We'll talk about experience and how your experience can be used as a benefit in this process. And again, Timing. Timing is everything. And when you apply and how you apply is important, just almost as much as what you're applying with. So please keep that in mind. How to get a great score. So some of you may have already decided that you're going to try for U.S. residency. Some of you may already know what you need to do to match, and you're like, oh yeah, I need to know how to get a good score. Well, I can answer that question too. We'll talk about the different resources that you might want to be using. We'll talk about the Kaplan study plan. We'll give you a brief overview of how we organize our studies. And again, timing, understanding the timing of these tests and giving yourself enough time to prepare for them adequately is such a huge part of this process. And then finally, if you'll stick around, I'll explain to you why Kaplan is the best for all of these things. We'll talk about our individual course options and some of our benefits and features that we're very proud of. So our faculty, the experience that we bring, and the flexibility of our options. Okay, so why U.S. residency in the first place? So for many, it's just a faster pathway to specialization. You can come to the United States within 3 to 5 years. You're an internist. I mean, it's maybe I honestly can't tell you how it is around the world, but I know that this is faster than in many places. So when you graduate from medical school, you can come here and you can pick up a specialization in 3 to 5 years. Another thing is, and I have another slide, but we have competitive salaries. The United States pays our doctors well. The United States medical system has its flaws, but this is one area where our doctors are pretty happy. All candidates enter the same application pool. You are not applying for an IMG spot. You're applying with everybody else. And as the statistics show, international medical graduates make up about 25% of our workforce. Sorry, I'm getting some text. I'm not sure what, is there an issue, perhaps, Natalia? I'm not sure. I'm getting some text about misunderstanding.
For a second, I don't know what's the problem.
I'm not sure.
I think that everything
Okay. All right, we're okay. All candidates enter the same application pool. So when you send in an application, you're sending it in competition with all other applicants. And it's best man, best woman wins. I mean, we really do. You will find that if you have competitive scores and you have great credentials, then you're going to get a very fair opportunity to get whatever specialty and whatever program you want. And we need your help. Come help us. Come help fill the anticipated doctor shortage in the United States. It's very important that we have enough doctors for our people, and we're anticipating a very large percentage shortage. So let me take a further look at a couple of those things. For one, the average salary. So you can see here that all the way from orthopedics down to family medicine, the average ranges from over $200,000 per year to close to $500,000 per year. These are 2017 numbers. These cover the United States. So what a gastroenterologist makes in New York City is far more than they will make in, say, Ohio, where I live. But the cost of living, that's the adjustment. So these averages go all over the place. If you are a family medicine doctor making $200,000 in New York City, you're like, it's not, it's okay, but it's not great. You're going to be making more in New York City. But this is the average. So you can see, though, this is a great opportunity for financial success here. We need you. Since 1980, the percentage of current physicians practicing medicine in the United States has not gone below 25% of non-U.S. IMGs. Okay, so it is a tradition, and it is not slowing down. As you can see below, the chart on the right These are the number of non-US IMGs that have matched their preferred specialty. That's gone up by over 1,000 in the last 9 years, and it has continued to go up for the past 8 years. So there's been a steady increase. We had a big jump in 2012, and it has just gone up and up and up ever since. This is the most ever in 2018. So I'm pretty confident we're going to hit that 4,000 mark this coming March. We're very excited about that, and excited about all the opportunities available. The AAMC here in the United States predicts a shortage of about 45,000 primary care physicians, 46,000 surgeons, and medical specialists. So we're nervous about that, and we don't even know if there are enough international graduates who want to come here to fill that gap. So we're working hard to get more people to go to med school here, but the IMG community is going to be the first place that we go to fill these spots. So if you had any doubts about whether or not the United States was welcoming or if we needed you or not, yes, the answer is definitely yes. And then as far as what are your percentage chances? Now, these don't look as rosy, but please understand, these are very highly sought after jobs. And U.S. seniors, people who graduate from U.S. medical schools, typically match at a very high rate, 94%. But those 6% that are matching are being filled out by you guys and the U.S. IMGs. U.S. IMG would be if I went to med school in Russia and then decided to come back here and practice medicine. I would be a U.S. IMG, American citizen with international medical training. If you are not a U.S. citizen and you have international training, you are a non-U.S. IMG. Very little difference, almost negligible difference between your chances regarding whether you're a citizen or you're not a citizen. So if you're concerned about that, you really shouldn't be. We don't add their numbers into there, but you can really see there's really very little difference between you. Almost 3,000 of them, almost 4,000 of you. We're talking 7,000 people from international medical schools coming over here and attaining residencies every year. So this percentage, by the way, this 56.1, represents everybody who got an interview for residency. So more than half of the people who were selected for interviews got a match. Additionally, this 56.1% is the highest it's ever been, okay? Well, I shouldn't say ever. In the past 30 years. It's the highest it's been in the 30 years. At Kaplan, back in 2010, the number was 41. 41% of IMGs matched to residency back in 2010. And we thought that was pretty good, to be quite honest. We thought that was okay. We thought that, you go to a job interview and somebody says you have a 41% chance of getting it. We thought that would be pretty good. Well, now it's 56. So you have a better chance of getting it than not getting it. That's very exciting. All right. If you have any questions about why U.S. residency, please feel free to type them into the chat, and I'll be happy to address those at the end of the presentation. Now let's talk about what do you need to do in order to match? Why should I, or what do I need to do in order to make this happen? If you've decided, yes, I want to try, here's how you try. So we're going to talk about scores, experience, and timing. For that, let's talk about some basics. And let's get this out of the way. And I apologize if this is known to you already, but it's always important to cover everything to make sure everybody understands where they need to go to find more answers, right? You can always come to us. You can always come to a Kaplan medical advisor. You can email me. I can answer your questions. But you're also at some point going to be directed towards these 4 websites. These 4 websites, these 4 organizations are a key part, or all key parts of the process. So first is the USMLE. These are the people who make the exams. We have 4 exams that you must take. 3 of them must be taken before residency. 1 can be taken during residency, step 3. Second part is the ECFMG. Now, the ECFMG is for many people where they start this process. Actually, Kaplan It's where they start. They come to us and they ask us questions, and then they go to these places. But the ECFMG is basically your dean. So they are the ones who collect your data, confirm who you say you are, and that you have the credentials that you say you have, and confirm that you are eligible to take the USMLE exam and apply for a U.S. residency. So if you're looking for the first step, that might be it, to go to ECFMG and to register and become verified by ECFMG. I think it costs $40 or $60 to do that. So you fill in an application, you send them copies of documents, passports, things like that. EROS is the next step. EROS is a little down the road if you're just in the beginning, but it's important to know that you do not have to apply to these specialties and these programs by mail, and we make it very easy for you using this system. So you will electronically apply to every program. So it's really as simple as choosing who you want to send your application and send. And you can send your application to as many people as you like. There is a cost in relation to how many programs you send your application to, however. And then finally, we have the NRMP, the National Residency Matching Program. Now, this website you're not going to need for a while. Right? You're not going to need this website until after you've applied. However, it's I shouldn't say that. You will need it, but not for the same purposes. The other reason to use the NRMP is the majority of the statistics that you'll find in my presentation come from the NRMP. They do a good job collecting statistics for every year. They collect program director surveys, so how we know what to tell you what to do. The program directors tell us in their surveys what they value, what they don't value, what's essential to an application, and what's really not that important. So we use that data to help answer questions to doctors like yourself. So I encourage you all to check out those 4 websites as you know. Now, what is the process? So the websites kind of map out the process, but this makes it a little bit more clear. Again, please don't expect to leave here understanding this process 100%. There's lots of details and minutia, but the basics are here. First, you will become ECFMG certified. Now, that is different than verified. Verified just means you are who you say you are. Certified means you are who you say you are, and you've passed Step 1, Step 2 CK, and Step 2 CS. Once you've passed those 3 exams within a 7-year period, you're eligible to begin a residency in the United States. Okay? You don't have to have passed them all to apply, but it's advised that you do have them in hand when you apply. And that's the best way to get a match. So passing Step 1, Step 2 CK, Step 2 CS will make you ECFMG certified. With certification, you can apply for the match, okay, and the residency. Hopefully you get that. We'll talk more about that. We're skipping over the complication of getting a match right now. We're just showing you the medical licensing process. So if you get the match, then you would join your residency. And then before you can be licensed to practice medicine in the United States, you will have to pass the Step 3. The Step 3 exam is a 2-day exam, and we'll briefly talk about that here in a little bit. After that becomes board certification. So some specialties require additional testing, but most require some form of evaluation, and then you're done. And then when you're done, after you've completed all of your work, you will either move towards return home if you're on certain kind of visas, or finding work here in the United States. It just depends. But either way, if you want to come here and live here, you will be able to do so. It's just a matter of visa qualifications and what kind of visa you have while you're here. If you have the kind of visa that requires you to leave for 2 years, then after those 2 years are over, you're eligible to apply to any hospital that has an opening, and you'll have a lot of success. We don't hear from many people who say, "I went through this whole process and couldn't get a job." That doesn't happen. If you go through this whole process, you'll be working here eventually, if you want to. You don't have to. Okay. So then, what are they looking for? Like Okay, Mike, so you explained a little bit about the process. What do programs need from me? Well, first of all, and primarily, they're going to look at your scores and how many times you attempted each exam. That is, it's just not something you can get past. People ask all the time, can I match with low scores? Yes, you can. Is it likely? Not necessarily. The likelihood for people to match goes way up with the higher your scores and without having to retake any exams. Statistics bear that out. Beyond that, some other factors that are helpful, but really, like if you have low scores, you have to really build these bottom 5 up, but even then it's tough, are the years of medical school graduation. When did you graduate? Unfortunately, this is a bit ageist, but they want you fresh out of school if they can get you fresh out of school. That doesn't mean 5, 10, 15-year veterans of medicine can't match. We have them match every year. However, you wouldn't be looking at that 56.1% chance. You'd be looking at a bit lower. However, and I'll keep pointing this out, the higher your scores, the less the rest of this matters. If you have super high scores, all these other things I'm talking about just don't matter as much. Evidence of any U.S. clinical experience. So I have some slides here. We'll talk about it briefly, about getting U.S. clinical experience, coming here and practicing medicine hands-on. If you can do that, yes, that is very helpful to your application. If you couple that with a high score, you're going to get interviews. Okay, you're going to get lots of interviews. And so there are programs that can help you do that. We have a program here at Kaplan called Complete Prep, which includes rotations. It includes two full rotations and allows you to get that U.S. clinical experience here near your Kaplan Center. Strength of letters of recommendation are really important. If they come from U.S. doctors, all the better. If they don't, they must come from doctors who've seen you practice medicine. So we're not looking for you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody famous. I don't know. you know that's not really what we're looking for. We're looking for doctors who've seen you practice medicine, writing what kind of doctor you are. Okay, so the strength of your letter of recommendation can be very important. Your personal statement is an unsung hero here. This is the tiebreaker for many applications. Your personal statement is a one-page document. We're not going to get into it too much here. Kaplan offers lots of free programs in our live online format. So if you go to kaplanmedical.com, you can visit, or actually Excelente has a link they can share with you if you ask them for free live online events like this, but through Kaplan, where we talk about personal statements and letters of recommendation. We go through all of this stuff in more detail for free. But the personal statement's a one-page document where you basically explain who you are. And then finally, and really beyond scores, the second most important thing in this process is how you conduct yourself during the interview. Your interview performance is the number one thing to how they choose who to match from their applicant pool. Scores are how they choose applicants. Interviews are how they choose doctors from those applicants, right? So it's kind of, first you get in the door, then you have another thing to go through. I always like to compare it to like the World Cup. You know, your scores are how you perform in your region. So if you want to get into the World Cup, you have to win in Europe. We have to win in North America. That's your scores, getting into the game. Once you're in the game, it's your performance during the interview as primarily what determines whether or not you match. So I spent a lot of time on this slide because this is a question I get a lot, is what's the most important thing? And really, these aren't really ranked in importance. They're all important. But the first one is the focus. So U.S. clinical experience. Let me talk about that for just a minute. That's a very common question, so it's worth discussing. What should you do? Should you worry about this? You should worry about it if you have already taken your exams and you don't have great scores, or if you have any failures. Those are the people who need to really pay strong attention to this. If you have good scores, or if you haven't taken your exams yet, I want you to understand that it's useful, but not necessary to get U.S. clinical experience. Volunteer work, if you're here in the United States, or if you come here in the United States, you can do volunteer work that helps. You can do research. If you want to do research in your career, however, I recommend not to do research if you can do something else if you don't want to do. If research is not part of your career plan, then you should try to find another kind of personal experience to do. Externships and observerships are where you're going to find the most opportunity. These are available through different companies here in the United States. They're available at different hospitals throughout the United States. There's a bit of a process. You might have to pay some money to get some of these, but they are very useful. A letter of recommendation from these programs can go a long way. And there are medical certifications that you can get, that you can come here and be licensed to do certain procedures. There's procedure training courses that you can do in New York. There's all kinds of different things that look good on an application that show that you can practice medicine here in the United States. So what do you achieve with getting U.S. clinical experience? What's the purpose? What do you want? So if you're talking to a program, you're talking to somebody about U.S. clinical experience, and I'll say up front, we cannot offer you U.S. clinical experience other than through our complete prep program right now. So we can't sell it to you separately. So if you come to me and you say, Mark, your classes are great, but I just need U.S. clinical experience, I can't do that. I can only do that in our complete prep program right now. But if you do go out and you're shopping for it, look for these things. You want exposure to patients. That's got to be number one. You have to have exposure with patients in order for this to make sense. You'll acquire skills that you'll need in the hospital, in American hospitals. You'll get letters of recommendation. You'll improve your communication skills, or at least you'll be able to prove that you have good communication skills. You have an opportunity to network and make connections, and this is huge. This is, there's a lot of stereotypes about us here in the United States, but one that is pretty true is we do hire who we like, and we do hire who we know because we usually like who we know. So making connections, networking, being known is helpful. You get to try out the different specialties. This is something you're going to be doing for your life, or at least a large part of your career. It would be helpful to know what you're getting yourself into. And you want to confirm your interest in certain specialties, get greater knowledge, rules, regulations, name on papers, publications. All that stuff is very, very valuable. So when the applications come in, when you send in your applications, they filter them first by scores. They're going to select a number of applications to just cut off at the bottom and say, we're not going to take those. And scores are primarily how that happens. They usually start the cutoff period at a certain score threshold. So the higher your score, the more likely you are to survive that first cut. The next cut comes with the application package. This is where your letters of recommendation, this is where your U.S. clinical experience, this is where your research and your grades in medical school and all those things become helpful and needed, because they are now going to look amongst the high scorers who has these things. Then comes the interview process, and they will filter you out by that. They will determine who had the best, in demeanor and who fits into what they're trying to do. And then finally, and I don't want to get too deep into this because it's pretty into the weeds of what happens here, but they will rank you, and you will rank them. Every program that you interview with, you will rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They will rank everybody that they interview 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100. Those rankings are submitted, and those rankings determine the match. That's where we get that term, the match, because it's not a we pick her, we pick him, we pick her situation. It's a we like her, we like him, we like her, and then everybody else and then everybody throws the information into a computer, and it spits out the perfect match. So that process is a bit convoluted. It bears more discussion, but I want to make sure we cover a lot today. So what kind of scores are we talking about? Well, the scores for matched IMGs, these are non-US IMGs who matched to residency this past year, so 2018 March. The average score for a Step 1 match was 234. The average score for a Step 2 CK match was 240. Did you have to meet those numbers? No. Do those numbers guarantee you a match? No. But you can see where you're aiming for, right? You can see what you're going for. You need to have competitive scores. These scores have raised in the past 10 years, okay? When I started, a 221 and a 228 on Step 1 and Step 2 CK were considered competitive scores. Now, that's the threshold for not matching. Again, people match all the time with lower scores than these, but these are the averages you're dealing with. Here's a more specific example. This is from the NIMP. These statistics, it's 2016, but the numbers haven't changed dramatically. You can see that the match rate for internal medicine is very high, and the number of applicants and the number of spots for internal medicine is very high. Under that, you have a nice little collection of surgery and pediatrics and family and pathology and neurology with varying degrees of number, but nothing like internal medicine. So if you're sitting there and you're like, great, that's what I wanted to do, I'm an internist, you're great, that's awesome. If you're not, and you're like, I don't want to do that, you don't have to. You should go for what you want. But understand that having internal medicine as a backup is a good opportunity. You can see that the scores on the left vary. Family medicine scores averaged only a 219. Psychiatry only a 221. Physical medicine only a 227. Upwards there of 240 for surgery. Right? So if you want surgery, and I get that question every presentation I do, Mark, can I match the surgery? The answer is definitely yes. You can match the surgery, but just be prepared to compete. Okay, and be prepared to be in a bit of a battle. You can see that 21% of IMGs matched. And that's not a good number, but hey, you know, there's 55 happy surgeons out there. All right. And now, to show you and to represent exactly how important scores are, this is directly from the NIMP, and this number has only gotten more impressive over the past few years. You can see that if you score above 240, your chances of matching go up to 70% and up to 88% with 260, and I can tell you that I need to update this slide. The numbers now are better. 250 means an 89% chance of matching, a 250. And we've had hundreds of 250s in the past 2 years. So we can help you get that 250. Okay, just let us help you. We can help you. Okay, now I'm going to talk about how to get a great score. Like what do you need to do in order to achieve success on this plan? Now, I don't want to spend too much time here. I could do a whole hour on these 4 exams. So this slide is here just to kind of show you what you're dealing with. Step 1 covers your basic sciences. The first 2 years of American medical school, that's what this exam is for. It covers the first 2 years of American medical school, so it's got all the basic sciences, including behavioral science. Step 2 CK covers the last 2 years of medical school, and it's a clinical test, and it's more fun. Doctors like it better because it's doctoring as opposed to a science test. Step 1's more of a science test. So you'll get to evaluate and determine treatment and diagnosis for Step 2. Step 2 CS, you will have to come to the United States to take Step 2 CS. You do not have to come to the USA for Step 1 or Step 2 CK. CS is a practical test. You'll come here. You'll meet with 12 standardized patients. They're basically actors portraying patients, and you'll examine them, and you'll communicate with your findings with them, and give them a differential diagnosis, and then evaluate them. You'll do 12 of them, and you must pass them all. It's a pass-fail exam. Step 3 can be taken after residency begins, or can be taken before residency. It's required to practice medicine in the United States, and if you want to be unsupervised in your residency. So Your residency really wants you to get this done after your first year. It's a continuation of what's in step 2. It's really about continuing care. So what are some tactics for both these tests? We'll focus on step 1 and step 2 for now. Step 2 CS really requires its own presentation. We actually think it was last night, or it's tonight. We have a step 2 CS, a live online event, if you're interested in what it takes to take that test. You want to give yourself plenty of time to prepare. You have 7 years, but you can't retake them after that. So make sure that you get your test and you get the score you need right away. Okay? Okay. Make a study plan. Set a 3-month window with the first month that window at earliest likely readiness point. So we're getting into the weeds here a little bit, but when you apply for ECFMG, when you apply for USMLE, they're going to ask you when to take your test. You don't want to select that right away. You're going to select a 3-month window in the future, the earliest point that you could take it. I strongly, strongly advise you, even if you don't register with us here at Kaplan, even if you don't buy any course or resource with us, you're allowed a free medical advising appointment. I advise you to make one of those appointments and meet with an advisor before you set this date. They can help answer questions, basic questions, to help you determine this. Make a study plan and stick to it. Again, this is an advantage of Kaplan, but even if you don't use us, make a plan and stick to it. That is the pathway to success here. Make sure you get help if your plan isn't working. Make sure you self-assess to keep material in memory. That means not just using quizzes and questions, but asking yourself questions, writing down information from memory as often as possible. Memorization is not the key. Memorization, by that we mean like a trick, like using mnemonic tricks to, my very energetic mother just baked 9 pies, or whatever it was, just told 9 pies. It's how we learned how to memorize the different planets, right? Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. We learned that with this little mnemonic device. Those are fine, but you really make sure you have to understand the concepts before you can get into all that. And then question performance should guide you, not an arbitrary amount of time. Don't say, I'm going to take this test in 6 months no matter what. That's not a good strategy. You need your question performance to determine when you take your test. We can help you with all of those factors. Step 2 CS, again, I'm going to skip past this just because I see we're running a little low on time. But you can see here, you can take it in these 5 locations: Philadelphia, Atlanta, Houston, Chicago, LA. Kaplan advisors, and Kaplan is here to help you with that exam. And then here's something that's really important to consider is, how do I get a good score? What are the key factors? Well, knowledge base is the main factor, but it is not the only one. Your ability to take a test and use the strategies that we teach is really important. And how you compose yourself during the exam, and how you prepare yourself, and how you feel while you're taking the exam has shown to have a huge impact. Anxiety is a test killer, and we are here to help you avoid that. Okay, so what is the Kaplan study plan? In a nutshell, we want you to combine our content with our questions across the path. So if you go from left to right, your total study time is going to the majority of your study time is going to be spent with our content, our videos, our lectures, our live lectures, our on-demand videos, all kinds of different content that we provide, our books, our lecture notes. Excuse me. And then we give you quizzes and assessments, small amount at first, building up as it goes, so that when you're halfway through the test, you should be doing half study, half question. We'll give you topical question review at the beginning, anatomy questions, physio questions, things like that. And then as you go, we start incorporating our Q bank and our sample tests and more test simulation kind of questions, until at the end, right before your test day, you're pretty much doing just question practice at that point. In the first part of the first part of the process is to review the material. Now, you may have been away from basic sciences for many years. Maybe you're still in school. either way, you need to learn it the way that U.S. students are taught it. And so it takes 2 rounds for that. So we'd like you to watch our videos and take our live class. Take our live online class and watch the videos. Read your lecture notes and attend the live class. Any way that you can combine 2 runs through the material is what you need to do during the review phase. Then we'll have a remediation phase, and this is where you start to process the material across systems instead of just across subjects. So instead of just doing anatomy, now we're also looking at doing cardio as it relates to anatomy, physio, pharm, path, and behavioral science and whatnot. And then finally, the practice phase, which can lead back to remediation and back to practice depending on your performance. This is where you're doing questions. The MBME exams, the QBank exams, other question banks. You're going to need more than just Kaplan's question bank. Unfortunately, we don't have as many questions as you really need. You need about 4,000 questions total. We offer about 2,300. So, excuse me, oops. Pardon me. Okay, so we've talked about why come to the United States. We talked about what programs they're looking for. We've talked about how to get a high score. And again, I know I briefly talked on all those things. Again, we're here for you. We're here to answer your individual questions absolutely for free. Let's talk about why Kaplan. First of all, we have the best faculty in the world. We hand select our faculty. We look in medical schools. We only pick people who are current in their field, who are currently working with this material. We have anybody who's retired and is finishing their careers here at Kaplan. That's not why we do it. We need people who are current in their fields, so they bring with them not only expertise, but I was trying to think of a phrase. There's a phrase I was looking for, but anyway. So anyway, lots of great things there as far as quality education, quality, and we have thousands of people working on our products. I should say hundreds, not thousands. That's too much. Our experts are right here. You can see many of them here. You can go to kaplanmedical.com to find out more about Dr. Barone and Dr. Turco and Moscatella and Dr. Noto. They are literally award-winning doctors across the board. We're very, very proud of them, and they represent us extremely well. So you can choose to work at home. You can stay in Russia or wherever you're currently living, or you can come study with us here in the United States. We actually just started yesterday a class in India, so we're branching out across the world. So feel free to recommend other places for us to go. But we have options for both. Whatever course you take, whether it be on demand, live online, in center, coming here, staying home, you get the same resources as a core product. You get the lecture notes, those are the books. We can send you those physical and digital. You get the on-demand videos that are pre-recorded materials. The diagnostics, the assessments, the simulation exams are all included, no matter which product you choose. And then our QBank also comes with each of these products. So if you purchase a Kaplan course, we want you to feel comfortable that you have everything you need to achieve a high score. So really quickly, in-center and live means you come to one of our centers, you immerse yourself into the United States, Chicago, New York, LA, Miami, and Houston, Texas. And you work with workshops, you work with an advisor, you have a live class. It's really our package that does the best job, really, as far as covering everything you want. And by being here, you can get that valuable clinical experience that you'll need. You can see, I always forget, I have a slide. We have Chicago, Houston, Miami, New York, and Pasadena for our U.S. locations. We have med advisors in each of our locations. These medical, my former job, and medical, actually we've improved the position a little bit. We now make only our doctors. So they kicked me out. We only have our academic medical advisors now are also physicians. So you're in good hands there. They've gone through this process. They know how Kaplan's process works, and they're here to help you. Live means just coming for just the live lectures. Maybe you can't take so much time to come here and study with us for 7 months like you would need for an in-center class. you only want to come for 7 weeks or 14 weeks. You can do that. We have those opportunities here in the States. You can still get a visa for those. Live online is an excellent option if you're either in a financial situation where leaving work isn't an option and you can't leave your work. This class is perfect. It starts at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, which I don't know where you are in the world. I know we're talking to people from all over Russia. It's almost 6 a.m. here. In about 3.5 hours, these classes will be starting. So I don't know if that fits in your timeline or not, but in about 3.5 hours, we'll have a 4-hour class, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time to about 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And we have these classes all the time. And trust me, you'll get just as good a score if you take this class. We have huge scores coming out of Live Online, 250, 260 plus scores all the time coming out of this class. On demand is a great option if you're just looking to, either if you're in school or if you just don't have time for a scheduled class and you want to cover the material, the on-demand product is there. It's got all the materials that you need. It comes with all the products. The only thing is it doesn't really come with medical advising. We'll help you with the free advising session. We'll get you started. We'll give you advice. We'll answer your questions. But you're not going to get the hands-on advising that you'll get from all the other ones that I mentioned so far. All right, I'm going to skip over that one just because moving ahead. If you'd like to study with us here, okay, there's a process here. And Excelente has this presentation. They're welcome to share it with you if they like. You can see that the different locations are available. How to begin your studies here is very simple. We'll need an application from you. We'll need documents for your I-20, and we'll help you prepare for your visa interview. We have lots and lots of locations. Every month you can begin. Miami is a special location. In Miami, it's kind of a university feel. You'll enter a cohort, either group 1 or group 2 in January, February, or October, July. And that's kind of like you come in with a large group. So if you like college atmosphere and everybody's in the same boat, that's your best bet. You can see here there's lots of live opportunities, live online opportunities, and we have a great sale. So this month is a 15% off sale for those live and in-center classes, 15% off live online, and we just lowered the price. So this is as low as it's ever been. We've never had a lower price for live online. And we're doing 25% off on demand, okay? And 25% off on demand really brings that price down. And these prices will expire on October 31st. We'll speak to Natalia and Ksenia at Excelente, or anybody at Excelente, and they'll be happy to help you get those discounts. And as a bonus, if you decide to enroll within the next 2 weeks, so you have 2 weeks, we'll give you an additional $200 discount. So that $200 discount is not a part of the 15%. This is an additional discount that's valid for any Step 1 or Step 2 CK comprehensive course. Okay? So make sure you mention that whenever you decide to enroll. And you can see our happy students here. So every year, March is our favorite time of the year at the centers. We've got all our match signs. Hundreds of doctors match every year from Kaplan centers, and it's really a good party. Every March. I'm a little jealous I don't work at a center anymore. If you're looking for help, you already know where to find it. You already know Excelente, so we're proud to be partners with them. You can visit them at their Facebook page. Well, it's our Facebook page, but at their website. You can email Ksenia. You can give them a call. And as a gift for joining us today, if you click on a link there, and I can arrange to share the link via email with Ksenia, Natalia, and Excelente afterwards if you need to, is a free ebook. So a free ebook of Kaplan's Med Essentials that allows you to really cover all the basic sciences. It's not meant as a substitute for our lecture notes, of course. It's a supplement. It's something that you would use at the end of your studies to collect your notes. Very similar to what is called first aid. So I'm going to leave that screen there. The only other slide I have is a question slide. So I'm going to go back and leave that on there for anybody that wants to click on that. And I'm going to invite Natalia back to help me answer any questions you might have. That is what we have as our presentation today. Thank you very much for your time. And I'm available for any additional questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mark, for such a useful. We get a lot of information on the stage. I briefly will explain them all information that we get today. Итак, друзья, сейчас вы можете задавать вопросы в чат, да, то есть если вы можете написать вопрос на английском, то можете сразу непосредственно прописывать, и Марк вам напрямую ответит. Если же вам нужен перевод, можете писать на русском, я постараюсь вам помочь с переводом, да, то есть так, вот Екатерина уже задала вопрос. So, Mark, we have a question from Екатерina. She asked, how can I get practice in US if I'm not US citizen? We have some troubles. Can you hear me, Mark? Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, can you repeat your question? I didn't quite hear you. I don't know if you could type it for me, but.
Okay. Once again, Ekaterina asked you about how can she get practice in US if she is a non-US citizen.
How can you practice in the US?
Yes.
You have to go through this whole process. Yeah, that's what this is all about. So there is no other way to practice in the US other than through residency. You first must become a resident in the United States. You have to go through a residency in order to practice here. There's no other way around it. Does that answer your question?
I will ask Екатерина.
Okay.
Екатерина, подскажите, пожалуйста, поняли ли вы ответ? Да, если у вас вдруг возникают еще вопросы соответствующие, также можете задавать. Дайте знать, если нужен будет перевод ответа. Также хотелось бы отметить, что напомнить вам про скидку, да, то есть если вдруг вы решите непосредственно уже подаваться на программу, то вы получите скидку в размере $200, и вы также можете обучаться онлайн, то есть если вам неудобно выезжать за рубеж на настоящий момент, если Итак, если вам неудобно, допустим, выезжать в ограниченный настоящий момент, получить аккредитацию, вы хотите повысить свои знания, навыки, вы можете непосредственно обучаться онлайн, то есть опция тоже есть, вы можете параллельно обучаться как онлайн, так и непосредственно в классах, то есть или. Для того, чтобы поступить, вам нужно будет сдать тест, то есть мы вышлем вам ссылочку при необходимости, то есть если вы не уверены в своем английском, и уже непосредственно скажем вам, то есть необходимо ли вам подтянуть ваш английский, или же вам достаточно вашего английского, вы можете ехать в курсы за рубеж. Mark, can you please tell us what is the scores to get to Kaplan Medical, the scores of English language? What is the level of
English.
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me. Sorry about I have a bit of a cold. English is not. There are no English tests required for USMLE as far as for residency. Like you don't have to take TOEFL. You don't have to take IELTS. You don't have to take any test. The Step 2 CS exam is the English test. So when you take the Step 2 CS, you are communicating with those standardized patients. They have to be able to understand you, and you have to be able to understand them. That's the English test. Okay? Now, that's a little daunting. It's like, okay. Now, Kaplan, if you want to study with us here, we do require you to have an English score because we don't want you to waste your money. All our resources are taught in English. We don't want you to come here and be like, I don't know why I came here. But we do require you to pass a very low threshold TOEFL score, I think like 71 IBT, if even that high. I don't know if that high. And we have a free test that I can offer your clients, Natalia. So ask me or Xenia, we can talk about the free English test that Kaplan offers. It will help doctors understand if they're ready, their English is good enough to study with us. But as far as matching to residency, no test needed, just the Step 2 CS. You just have to pass that.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. And we have one more question from Dmitry. He asked as well, is it necessary to have recommendations from US medical from Usmle?
Good question. So the question is it necessary to have U.S. letters of recommendation? Is that right?
Yes.
The answer is no. It is not necessary. It is not necessary. In fact, it is more common that you match without them than matching with them. Is it useful? Yes, very useful. I would say, does a man have to have a nice car to get a date on Friday night? No, he doesn't have to have a nice car to get a date on a Friday night, but it's helpful. And so letters of recommendation are like that. They're not necessary, but they are useful and helpful.
Okay, I think it's a good news for our listeners. So I will briefly explain what we're just talking about. Итак, Дмитрий и Екатерина, я думаю, что в принципе ваши вопросы пересекаются, да, если так в общем говорить. То есть вам не обязательно иметь какую-то практику, да, какие-то рекомендационные письма именно с американской стороны, в момент того, как вы будете непосредственно уже участвовать в программе. То есть, как сказал Марк, да, это будет непосредственным бонусом, это будет плюсом, если у вас будут подобные рекомендации. Естественно, будет огромным плюсом, если у вас будут рекомендации с работы, да, с вашей страны. То есть это будет полезно как для Usmle, так и для вашей карьеры за рубежом. И, в принципе, это будет полезно для того, чтобы получить визу в США. То есть тоже такой правильный момент. Вот, поэтому вам нет необходимости иметь какие-то определенные рекомендационные письма, да? Но если они есть, если у вас была практика уже в США, то это будет преимущество. Как я вам уже говорила, у нас есть программа стажировок, то есть люди, которые непосредственно отправляются на стажировки, проходят их, у них уже есть рекомендации. То есть эта работа неоплачиваемая, она идет именно за счет имеет преимущество именно за счет наработки опыта, да, какого-то получения международного опыта, получения рекомендаций, что, в принципе, в будущем вам может помочь с работой с рубежом. Но если у вас нет этих писем, то есть это не критично. Вот. Также хотелось бы сказать по поводу визового процесса, да, мы также помогаем с визой, то есть я думаю, что когда мы с Марком уже расстанемся, да, дабы не задерживать. Также я вам немного расскажу о процессе подачи на визу и о том, как, в принципе, подаваться на программу. Поэтому, если у вас сейчас есть какие-то вопросы, то задавайте. Если же все-таки уже вопросы к Марку закончились, да, либо если они возникнут по факту, то можете нам писать, и мы уже будем уточнять непосредственно у Марка эту информацию. So, Mark, we also take a lot of requests of records of so I think that some this record to see us offline, so they will get information too. Can you hear me? I see that you can hear me.
Yeah, sorry, you cut out for a second. So I'm sorry, can you say it again?
Yeah, sure. I just said that we also received some requests of record of our meetings. So some people will get these records, so they will use this information. That's okay. It's just a work day in Moscow. Somebody called me and just told me that I can't get into the webinar because I'm working. So I will get an access to record of our meeting, and they will get information too.
Yes, please. And please feel free to share my email on mark.ratliff@kaplan.com. I'm happy to answer any questions by email. We have free advising appointments. You can share. You have a free advising form that you can share with them if they'd like to make an appointment. We're here to help you. We want you to purchase courses. We want you to use our resources, but you don't have to get free advice. We'll answer your questions. We'll talk to you. Kaplan's in the business of helping doctors achieve success in any way we can.
Okay, that's great. And I think that now we don't have any questions because information is pretty complicated, and I will try.
I know.
In Russia also. So I think that today we can end our webinar. So if I'll get some questions from our listeners, I will tell you about it, and if I wouldn't know some information, I'll ask you, and I think that you will help me.
That sounds great. Thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed helping you out, and I hope to hear from all of you, and good luck, and have a great night. Bye, everybody.
Итак, друзья, в завершение нашей встречи я хотела бы оговорить, в принципе, как податься на программу, да, и каких-то визовых моментов. То есть, смотрите, сейчас очень многих пугает тот момент, что достаточно сложно получить визу и вообще как проходит визовый процесс. Хочу сразу оговорить тот момент, что сейчас получить визу в США реально, и у нас уже получали множество людей визы, да. Сейчас проблемы непосредственно с записью на собеседование. То есть, если вы уже думаете насчет этой программы, если вы хотите обучаться непосредственно в центре в США, да, в область-центрах, то вам необходимо сообщать об этом заранее, для того, чтобы мы успели подготовить пакет ваших документов и непосредственно подать ваше заявление, то есть записать вас на собеседование. Это занимает некоторое время. Чем раньше вы нам скажете, да, мы подберем для вас дату непосредственно, когда уже поедете обучаться, подберем для вас дату, запишем вас вовремя, вы получаете визу и уезжаете. То есть проблем с визой нет. В принципе, единственное, что нужно брать какой-то запас по времени для того, чтобы быть уверенным, что у нас все пройдет с вами вовремя. Вот что касается того слайда, который у нас сейчас на экране, да, это новая опция, то есть до этого Марк не предлагал нашим слушателям подобную опцию, то есть это достаточно приятный бонус. Если вы хотите получить вашу бесплатную электронную книгу, просто дайте нам знать, то есть вы можете оставить нам запрос либо на электронную почту, либо написать на WhatsApp, у нас есть с вами общий чат, да, где мы получали информацию о том, что скоро начнется наша видеовстреча. Вот, то есть непосредственно, если вы хотите получить книгу, просто обращайтесь к нам. Так, Екатерина, поставьте плюсики, сейчас меня слышно, я поближе немножко подвинулась, да, чтобы звук доходил. Вот, то есть непосредственно, если вы хотите получить книгу, обращайтесь к нам, мы вам дадим доступ. Спасибо большое Марку за то, что он предоставил нам такую возможность. И также, если вы хотите попробовать пройти тест на английском языке, да, то есть получить информацию о том, какие у вас сейчас знания в английском языке, мы также можем предоставить вам ссылочку, и исходя из этого уже мы сможем сделать вывод, то есть хватит вам английского или нужно все-таки его немного подучить. У нас был такой опыт, у нас буквально пару дней назад улетела девушка, она сначала поехала учить английский, и потом непосредственно уже перейдет на программу Kaplan Medical. То есть по ценам на обучение, Павел, смотрите. По ценам на обучение нам нужно смотреть уже на конкретные сроки, на которые вы рассчитываете, да, то есть хотите вы проходить обучение онлайн или же в центре, или хотите комбинировать, стоимость меняется в зависимости от этого. То есть я вам сейчас напишу два наших имейла в чат. Секунду. Смотрите, первый имейл – это непосредственно мой имейл, да, координатора международных программ, и второй имейл, секунду. Второй имейл – это имейл нашего директора, которая уже достаточно давно занимается именно программой Kaplan Medical, то есть вы можете написать нам запрос именно по программе, то есть прямо-таки пишите ваши контакты, да, чтобы у нас была с вами непосредственная связь, то есть номер телефона, почту. Пишите, что вы пришли с вебинара, что вы хотите уточнить по стоимости обучения, и когда вы укажете тот пункт, да, что вы пришли к нам с вебинара, у вас от стоимости обучения еще уйдет $200 в минус, так как вы получаете скидку в размере $200. То есть просто вставляйте нам запрос на один из тех email-адресов, которые я дала сейчас в чате. Так. Получается, когда можно сдать экзамен? Секунду, если хотите письменный ответ, напишу вам также письменно и расскажу устно, да, то есть когда можно сдать экзамен. Насколько я понимаю, сдать экзамен Usmle или английский, уточните. Я сейчас вам также напишу. Если по поводу сдачи экзамена Usmle, то здесь нужно будет уточнить вопрос у Марка, потому что даты постоянно меняются, то есть дата сдачи Usmle мне нужно будет уточнить, поэтому также можете оставлять нам запросы, и мы вам полностью все подробно расскажем. Что касается подачи на программу, нам нужен будет упасть также определенный пакет документов, которые мы вам сообщаем, когда вы уже все готовы идти вместе с нами от начала до конца, да, мы с радостью вам поможем в получении вашей международной аккредитации, поможем вам получить резидентство, да, в дальнейшем, то есть надеемся, что все у нас вместе с вами получится, информация сегодня была полезная. То есть по всем вопросам, если вдруг сейчас мы с вами закончим видеовстречу, да, и вы вдруг вспомните, что что-то мы с вами не осветили, по всем вопросам можете обращаться к нам. Если у вас есть коллеги, да, либо студенты, с которыми вы знакомы, которые заинтересованы в практике сдачи Usmle, которые заинтересованы в получении международной аккредитации или переезде за рубеж, вы также можете давать им наши контакты без проблем, то есть мы расскажем им обо всей информации, просветим от до, что вас будет конкретно интересовать, да, какие вопросы у вас будут возникать, мы вам все подробно расскажем. Если хотите сдать тест еще раз на знание английского языка, еще раз хочу упомянуть, что вам просто необходимо отправить нам запрос, чтобы мы знали. Так как сейчас мы завершим встречу, все-таки данные из нашего чата немножечко потеряются, да. Если вы хотите сдать тест, попробовать себя, обязательно напишите нам об этом, и мы дадим вам доступ. Поэтому не переживайте, у нас всегда информация доходит до нас оперативно. Если есть необходимость по получению какой-то информации, просто дайте знать. Подскажите также, есть ли у вас сейчас какие-нибудь вопросы для того, чтобы я непосредственно смогла их осветить, и если все-таки нет, то мы с вами попрощаемся и уже непосредственно будем завершать нашу сегодняшнюю встречу. Пожалуйста, поставьте плюсик, если вам все понятно, и у вас вопросов на сегодня уже нет, чтобы я могла понимать, что мы можем завершать. Так, уже вижу, пришла у нас интеракция, да, небольшая. Это у нас Павел и Павел уже говорят о том, что им все понятно. Друзья, пожалуйста, поставьте плюсик, да, все-таки, если уже мы все с вами осветили, для того, чтобы я знала, что на сегодня мы нашу встречу можем уже непосредственно закончить. Говоря о презентации Марка, могу сразу вам сказать, что презентация, несомненно, сложная, да, то есть тема не из самых простых, но не переживайте, то есть в любом случае мы вам на всех этапах поможем разобраться, поможем, возможно, с определением стоимости курса, который вам будет, который непосредственно будет подходить именно вам. Если вы находитесь в Москве или в каких-то других регионах страны, не переживайте. Наш офис находится по факту в Владивостоке, но мы работаем также и дистанционно. То есть если это подача на визу, мы готовим к собеседованию по скайпу, то есть без проблем. Мы работаем дистанционно. Если вы из других стран, также без проблем можем вас оформлять дистанционно. Главное, чтобы вы своевременно предоставляли нам все необходимые сканы документов. Поэтому здесь даже не переживайте, всегда будем с вами на связи. И также, если вы написали по вашему времени нам поздно вечером, не получили сразу быстрого ответа, еще раз сожалеюсь на то, что да, мы находимся в Владивостоке, но не переживайте, мы обязательно вам ответим, как только получим ваше сообщение. Поэтому высылайте ваши запросы, будем рады ответить. Итак, я вижу, что у нас в наших рядах уже было, да, то есть нас начинают кидать участники, поэтому тогда мы, наверное, завершим нашу видеовстречу. Спасибо вам большое за участие, была рада, что вы сегодня с нами. Спасибо, что заинтересованы в наших программах, за ваши вопросы. Было очень приятно с вами пообщаться. Марку тоже очень понравились ваши конструктивные вопросы. Сейчас включу вам небольшое видео в качестве завершения нашей презентации. Это видео разговорного плана, да, это так своего рода комментарий от ученицы, которая уже проходит программу подготовки к сдаче теста Usmle, то есть можете послушать отзыв своего рода от студента, который уже прочувствовал всю эту систему на себе. Поэтому рада была сегодня быть с вами в онлайн-пространстве. Еще раз спасибо за внимание и всем до свидания.
Привет всем! Меня зовут Алла, я из России. Я закончила Российский государственный медицинский университет в городе Москве. И сейчас я нахожусь в Каплан-центре в Чикаго уже 8 месяцев. Я готовлюсь к экзамену Step 1 Usmle. И я здесь была на программе 16 недель Live Lectures. Хочу вам сказать, что очень хорошие преподаватели, и несмотря на то, что мне было страшно из-за того, что чужой язык, все очень понятно и очень доступно разъяснено. Мне здесь очень нравится, и все ребята, если вы хотите поехать сюда, и вы не знаете, к кому обратиться и как и что, то Kaplan — это очень хороший для вас вариант, как и для меня, потому что эти люди уже подготовили миллионы студентов. Здесь вы встретите людей, которые идут к той же цели, что и вы. Поэтому это очень бодрит, это придает уверенности в себе. Поэтому не сомневайтесь. Приезжайте, учитесь и будьте хорошими врачами. И Kaplan вам в этом только поможет. Не сомневайтесь, друзья. Все, пока.